First of all, thank you for coming, all of you, and I would like to thank those who are participating in this research that was going on 1 year now, and we're now nearly, I think we finished now, So we are thinking about the next step. So thank you so much for helping us. Particularly, I would like to thank the Field Center, the parents, the young people, the professionals, all who give us a big support.
So we took some of the young people who are actually in that video to kind of say, to train them and to actually say, okay, what's the best way to actually do this report? How can we? So it took a whole day for training and put things in place. So how are they going to talk to these people? What question can they come out? What safety can we put out there? So as the person, they can contact me and Tom. So it took us a whole day to put the health and safety and the guideline for it. The report what came out of it, a lot of young people actually knew the words about anxiety and depression and how it affects them. But yet at the same time, they wasn't seeking help. One of the reasons that came up was the reason they wasn't seeking help was the understanding from home was that you do not go to professionals. But from their understanding from schools and growing up in Britain is they knew that they could go to seek help. But the other thing that came up was they didn't feel like there were people who represent them they could actually go to. One of the other things that came up with as well is that the religion aspect. If I go to someone, how will they understand my religion perspective? So what their understanding was that when somebody has a religion, especially like a Muslim, you cannot separate that from that person. He's a part of him. So that is something else that stopped them from going there. So a lot of young people felt like if they do seek help, there wasn't somebody like them who was out there. They do feel like it's something that they're dealing on their own, not only from identity perspective, because they feel like an outsider as well. So this kind of played a role of I'm isolated, I'm alone, and I cannot go to anywhere else. But I know that I'm dealing.
I think what we did is we had a chance to meet around more than nearly 20, 26, 27 parents. And when we just discovered what we met with young people and what they said about mental health and stigma, they were not happy. They were in shock. And the parents were understood that the children knows more about mental health than them, especially the terminology they're using, like anxiety, depression, and all this. Many parents didn't know about that. So that's the difference they have seen. Also, they admitted mental health is a big issue, big problem in the community, specifically Somali young people. And they also admit themselves that they had a mental health related issues such as post-traumatic disorder. And when they came in this country, they didn't get a chance to see a doctor, or because of a lot of barriers that they had at that time. Most of them, they didn't access they don't access mental health services, and the barrier was like language barrier, one of them, not knowing the system and how it works. Medication also is another thing, big issue, because they're scared if they took. They maybe have a bad side effect, or maybe they will be there on for a long time, or maybe wrong medication, and all this is something that they don't like to go to the GPs or to ask help or support. They agree also there's a stigma around mental health in the community, a big problem. And when we ask them how they cope with mental health, the first thing they say is about spiritual and healing, or the Quran, going to the imams and speak to them. However, they would like to see the doctors, especially the GPs, and they may ask some help with that. And also through emergency AEA, they can ask, but they don't like overall to go and get access to because of these barriers. That's what we find out.
So then the last thing we did was we took those two things, both the fact that the young people, lots of them had said they had some type of emotional or mental health issue in their life. Lots of them had said, despite that, they hadn't gone to seek any help, and the reasons why. The fact that the parents were very saddened by that they felt a distance, a language distance, a cultural distance from their children, and that they themselves had support needs that weren't being met. We took those two things and we played them to some community leaders. So we're talking about imams, we're talking about youth workers, we're talking about senior people in the mosque. And we said those things to them. And what they said to us is, yes, they really recognise that. They see so many people in their community having some form of emotional or mental health support needs. That too, it's a really hard situation they find themselves in, because you can imagine people are turning to them for everything. Marriage advice, debt advice, employment advice, housing advice, immigration advice.